Jesus, I look pale. Oh well, I am pale. I am doing this, probably to no one's excitement or joy, to try and hold myself accountable and maybe possibly give myself some incentive to write more. Because I found when I was doing fan fiction and posting things chapter by chapter, the comments and the kudos and the feedback obviously were motivation to keep writing more because people liked it. So maybe, just maybe, this will be the same thing. I'm obviously not good at making videos, thus why I look like a ghost in the middle of this room. But, I shall see if anybody wants to pay attention. I don't know, read, listen, ride along. Hi, me from like 2 hours later. I just realized that some of you might know me from my Tumblr and my fanfiction. Don't, then you probably are like, why the hell should I care? I don't know, why should you care? I'm not saying I'm some super pro writer or anything. I'm certainly not. I do have a degree in English and creative writing. I do have a couple of published things, and another one that I don't have a hard copy of yet has been published. So, I suppose I know something about something, but not enough. The many rejection letters that I got from literary agents show that I have more to learn. So, this is a learning experience together. We can bounce ideas off of each other, and we can get over the writing hump together. We'll hump it out. No, we won't. So, yes. Anyways, back to the video that I recorded before this. Right. Who knows? So this little mini ring light, let's see if that does anything. It's not gonna happen. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna start writing now. I don't know if any of this is any good. But, yeah. You guys want to listen? And we'll see. So the working title is Lifers. That might change. Probably will change. I don't know if I'll keep the term in any sense in the book itself, but yeah. Here we go. There is no heaven, of that he's sure. There's only this, and the hell that this is. He's been dead 6 months. He knows because everything is the same as it was. He was gone only a second, a moment, a breath that was his, and the next was not his. He shared that breath, that screaming, wailing, imperfect breath left his lungs. He shared that breath, that screaming, wailing, imperfect breath left lungs that he could once feel, but were not of his own body. For the first few moments, he wasn't sure if it was him crying or the baby he was now inside. Should that be inhabiting? I feel like it should be inhabiting. Inside sounds creepy. Inhabiting. This is not a pedophilic fic, believe me. Story. I'm not writing a fanfiction. Story. Okay. For the first few moments, he wasn't sure if it was him crying or the baby he was now inhabiting. He knew that he was in shock, but every time he screamed, "What's happening? Help! Help me, please!" It came out as infant cries and snot bubbles. He could feel the child agitate as he agitated, and the more scared he became, the more the baby would fret. those were things he could only comprehend hours later, once that white light he saw as his own blue eyes shuttered closed, brightened the hospital birthing room basked in a new hazel tint. When some time did pass and he settled enough to realize that this was all real, he began theorizing what was happening. Theories used to be his specialty after all. Well, they would have been, if he had lived long enough to finish college, get a degree in theoretical mathematics, get a job as a professor, or in stock projections, or some other thing he surely would have loved if he hadn't been in the wrong place at the wrong time and caught a stray bullet to the neck. He was only 20 years old, and he supposes he still is. After all, an infant doesn't have these thoughts. An infant can't comprehend that maybe Buddhists had it right all the time. An infant can't comprehend that maybe Buddhists had it right all along, right in some way at least. If they were completely correct, his soul or life force or whatever he is now would be in some bird or bug or something. He would just be whatever that creature is. But this is not the same. It's as if he's in a VR game. He can manipulate things, he can sense what's going on around him, but the overall programming isn't his to will. He can't just think to do something and do it. That control is in the hands of this child, this sloppy, grasping fingers of a babe that seems to neither know of his existence nor comprehend it even if he did. Jackson is a butterfly in this world, and he hopes that if he flaps it hard enough, maybe, somehow, some way, he can get someone to notice its existence. The baby's name is Oliver. Oliver's mother loves him. She says his name over and over while touching her nose to his. Jackson watches the look on her face through Oliver's hazy irises. Should be eyes, shouldn't it? Through Oliver's hazy eyes, and wonders if his own mother ever looked at him that way. Maybe she did once he was all shiny and new like this. But all he can recall is the disdain, the hateful smear that would cover her eyes as cheap vodka sterilized her of all feeling. He's envious of this baby, not just for his caring mother, but for his life, his chance, his ability to make the world a tangible thing. That's something he knows he took for granted now. See, took for granted when he was alive? Yeah. That's something he knows he took for granted when he was alive. His ability to touch and hold. He wants to feel things beneath his fingertips again. He wants to be able to touch his own skin, feel his own face, run his hands through his own hair, since all he can do now is get this ghost of a sense of Oliver's sensations. His random grasping hands I just said grasping hands. I was talking about the baby. What should that be? His flailing limbs? Spastic? His spastic movements. His spastic movements run through Jackson like a chill, and he knows that deep down he'll never get used to it, even though he has no idea where deep down is anymore in relation to his consciousness. He just knows that he's existing in some way with no shape or form to cling to beyond that of this baby. Does the child really not know he's here? Is Oliver special? Is he special? Or is this just what happens after everyone dies? Is every new life holding on to an old one? Jackson wants answers, but his words won't pass Oliver's lips, so the other people in the hospital room won't ever hear them. Okay. That's what I have so far, if that was understandable or not. So basically look at the desk lines I have on my wrists. That's how you know you're a writer nowadays. It's not ink on your fingers anymore. So my concept for this I came up with back in like 2012, just something that I randomly thought of because I was driving the hour and a half drive home from school, and when I got home, I did not remember the drive at all, and I was like thinking like, shit, did I fall asleep? Like, what happened? Obviously I got home safe, so good, but it was almost as if someone else took over my body, and I kind of thought like, what if someone else did? Like, what? I mean, obviously there's things like ghost possession and everything, and I've been told by my fiance that there's a Black Mirror episode where like souls can be transported to other bodies and stuff. I don't know. So I guess it's kind of similar. But basically, it's like, what if, there's no heaven, there's no hell, there's just souls that get put into, like, souls that were once alive. When they die, they get put into a new life. And so then now you get this idea that, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying anymore. Oh my god, I'm so tired. I work today. So yeah, basically, there could be multiple souls in a new body. So when a baby's born, like in this case, Jackson, who's our main character, who's the one who just died, he got put into Oliver, who we're going to be following both of their stories, kind of through Jackson's perception of it. But we're going to be watching Oliver grow up as Jackson exists inside him. And he's one of the lucky ones that he only has one soul to share this body with, which is Oliver himself. But as the story goes on, we'll see that other people can have many souls in their body, and this would be kind of an explanation for schizophrenia, or psychics who can, have so obviously there'll be fake ones, but there's some people who would be really able to kind of tap into the connection with these other souls inside of a body. And then it's just going to explain a lot of things of, like, how, for example, in my case, when I zoned out and didn't know that I drove home, it was actually somebody else, a soul, a aged soul who was capable of kind of tapping into body control. And, since my consciousness took a back seat, we'll see that there are ways that these different souls and lives can kind of come forward, thus like schizophrenics who can have multiple personalities, or, well, no, sorry, I'm mixing up my mental disorders. Again, sorry, I'm tired, I work today. But yeah, is any of this making sense? Jesus Christ. It makes sense in here, and I'm hoping that what I just read makes sense. Who knows? Yeah, the one thing I'm trying to kind of toy with is, like, what happens then to those souls inhabiting a lifer, the person in the real world, when that person dies. Is that like an actual death for all of them, except for the one who was the new life to start with? Or are we going to see some other step to this, and maybe it could be a series, and like, oh, what happens to Jackson after Oliver dies? Do those souls just get put into someone else, and are they connected still? Or idea, brain thought, maybe the people who have multiple souls in their body are all from the souls that were in their previous body. So, like, for example, when Oliver dies, he'll take Jackson, so him and Oliver will then go into a new body together, and now that body will have 3 souls between it. Do I want to do that? Does that sound interesting? I don't know. Okay. This is why I wanted to make a video, because I feel like I know what I'm talking about, but obviously I might not. And anyways, I always would tell my students when I did a creative writing group that you can know exactly what's in your head and you can think you're explaining it perfectly, but if it doesn't matter, like, the feedback you get, if it's positive or negative, if something is snagging a person and making them not understand what it is you're trying to say, whether you think it makes perfect sense or not, something about your writing is making that confusing to somebody. So you need to take a hard look at that part or the whole thing and see what is confusing. So that is kind of why I want to do this, because I want to work through this, because I don't write fantasy. This is not normally what I do, or sci-fi, or whatever the hell genre this is. I don't normally do this. So I wanted to get feedback from y'all. I used to live in Oklahoma, okay? I do say y'all. Um, if this makes sense, if this sounds exactly like something else that you guys have watched or read or whatever, or know about, please tell me. If you think it's interesting, please tell me. If you have thoughts or ideas of maybe how the soul thing could work, I do have other aspects of this that I'm gonna try and work through. Also, please tell me if this first part that I read to you is an information dump, because I've been known to do that in my first chapters. I have all these ideas and know how I want my story to kind of play out, so I kind of put it all in the first chapter accidentally or too much, and I don't leave enough things for later. So tell me that too. Anyways, okay. I don't know if this was interesting. Hopefully it was. Hopefully I'll at least get a couple people who watch this and are intrigued. Um, so I'm hoping to make a couple of these videos a week to keep me motivated to keep writing. So yeah, I guess stay tuned for the next part. I'm not going to say chapter, because if that was a chapter, it's super freaking short. So yeah, next part. We shall see. Alright, thanks guys.